Opinions, viewpoints, and promises made during the following program are not those of WHNZ AM, its staff, management, or parent company, Clear Channel Communications Incorporated.
This is the Jamie Maloney Real Estate Show on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Now, live in studio, your host, local real estate expert, Jamie Maloney.
Hi, everybody. Happy Monday, and welcome to the Jamie Maloney Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins WHNZ. You'll find this show on every Mondays at noon, and I invite you to please make this a favorite show of yours, as my show aims to become your information source for the Tampa Bay real estate market. I am a real estate agent with Coldwell Banker Residential Real Estate in South Tampa, and I specialize in the sale of foreclosed properties and been in business coming up on 7 years now, and I've sold quite a bit of properties, near just over 1,000 properties now. So decided to take my wealth of knowledge and experience to the airwaves to educate my listeners out there, and also, just continue to promote myself and my business. I've got a great show planned for you today. Co-host in studio today is Robert Paredes with Fifth Third Bank. Robert, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Jamie. How are you, sir?
Doing great. How was the weekend?
Well, Saturday was a little bit of a wash. I think we had some rain, but Sunday was beautiful. Hopefully everybody had a chance to take advantage of it and get out a little bit.
I myself spent Saturday working. Sunday I had a little bit of the cold come back. I was fighting that a couple weeks ago, and but Sunday I had a real bad stopped up nose, and I really didn't. I was real weak, but I'm feeling better today, though.
Good. That's good to hear. I think pollen's out, though. It's that got me over the weekend as well. I think so.
Yeah, I don't really have an allergy to anything that I know of, other than I think penicillin. So I'm surprised that maybe I have an allergy I don't know of. I don't know. So. Also in studio today, we've got Roger Bennett, founder of RAB Foundation Repair. Roger, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Jamie. Thank you.
Thank you for coming on the show. He's going to be talking about sinkhole remediation. We've been hearing a lot about that in the news over this past year, and he's got a lot of great information for my listeners on the sinkhole process, as well as something I didn't know, and talk with you about a new law that we'll be discussing in the second half of the show that's really impacting sinkhole claims that's come down out of Tallahassee, Senate Bill number 408. So we'll be talking more with him in the second half of the show. So if you have any questions or concerns regarding sinkholes, I invite you to please stay tuned for that. Off the air, you can get me at my websites, my show page, tampabayradio.com. I invite you to please reach out to me for questions, comments, and feedback through my contact form there. And you'll also find all of my listings on tampabayreo.com, as well as my upcoming listings as well. As a foreclosure sales agent, these properties are assigned to me weeks to months in advance of ever hitting the actual MLS. And so on my site, and my site only, tampabayreo.com, you can get a heads up on what's coming to the market prior to hitting the MLS, so you can begin to conduct your own due diligence. Also, if you're considering selling a home in the Tampa Bay region, I offer all of my listeners a free home valuation if they text the word value to my cell phone, which is 813-760-8516. Again, value. Text the word value to 813-760-8516. So wanted to talk a little bit about, my last year's successes. We're coming up within my company on the 2013 awards. And a big part of my show is I want to inspire other people to do what it is they really want to do in their life and in their career. I myself, was working in a hourly job. I worked for Cargill, which went on to become Mosaic back in my early 20s, and it was a good job. And but I wasn't happy with it, and so I took a layoff package that came out, and I actually volunteered for the layoff. And I went back to school because I was a chemistry student years ago at Florida Southern College. And I remember discussing this with my father because I was making between like $40,000 and $50,000 a year. And it was a good job. It was a rotating 12-hour shift job. But I really wasn't happy with it. So I volunteered for a layoff, and I actually saved some other people's or another person's job in that when I volunteered for that. And I decided to go back to school at USF, and I went on to get a finance degree and get into to real estate, and I can remember my father and I having the conversation, and he was like, I don't know if that's a real good decision. You're going to, exit, your current job that you have, 6 years experience in, and you're going to go into real estate back in 2006. This was the worst time to go into real estate. But I have always believed in myself and in my ability to succeed, and so I jumped full force into it. And within a year, I became a top producing real estate agent. I was very fortunate to set up some strong relationships with banks and some of the people within the industry. And just last year, 2013, I did $22.8 million in sales volume with 255 units sold, and that's with an average sales price of only $90,000. So $22.8 million with a $90,000 dollar average sales price took some time to build up, and I was number one in the company for gross commission earned at over $500,000. So obviously, I took the opportunity to reach out and set myself apart from the rest. And I always like to reflect upon some of the other people within the business, or within business that, influenced me. I was a big follower of Napoleon Hill. Are you familiar with them? Napoleon Hill found the 7 stories of success. I mean, what is it? 7
habits of success? Yes.
And
successful people.
No, what he did, he wrote a lot of books on the habits of successful people, and he was given this opportunity by Andrew Carnegie, who was a steel magnate back in the late 19th century, early 20th century. And Napoleon Hill was a man, and I think it was in his 40s or so. And Andrew Carnegie was very interested in what made people successful. And he offered Napoleon Hill this opportunity to study the successful people. And he was going to put him in touch with all of these people that were successful. And he offered him just a meager salary, just basic, living for the next 20 years of his life. And I always like to tell this story because I think it, focuses, or it reminds me of the importance of quick decision making. Because when Carnegie offered Napoleon Hill this opportunity to, have this opportunity, he had a stopwatch in his hand. And when he presented this to Napoleon Hill, he basically had 1 minute to make the decision. And had he not made the decision in 1 minute, he would not have offered him that opportunity. And Napoleon Hill went on to become one of the great writers in Successful People. And so I myself am a quick decision maker. So I always like to tell that story. And I think there's a lot of value in making quick decisions. And, sometimes, they don't always work out, but the net effect is, positive, I believe. And so I myself, when I was presented with that opportunity to leave the company, had to make a quick decision. And I've had to make many quick decisions throughout my business, and it's been very fortunate for myself. And I always like to discuss this with other people. And, Carnegie's idea of success hinged on definiteness of purpose. You got to know what you want to do in life. And I always ask people who aren't happy in life, what is it that you want to do? How do you see yourself getting to becoming a successful person? And I find that so many people cannot answer that one simple question.
And you know what? I want to add that as well. Find what you're passionate about. And if you do that, it's really not work now, is it?
No, it's not. And, I've been so fortunate in the business that I'm in to be able to run my own business. But everybody out there has a talent. And I want to, inspire other people to reach out to, to what it is that they want to do to find, their happiness and their success, as I did for myself. And not to be afraid of, failure. Even today, I mean, I'm in a business. I control my own destiny with, what I make and what I can, stand to earn. But at the same time, failure is right around the corner at any given time. But I don't fear failure, and that stops so many people in business.
And you know what? And that's you're absolutely right. I want to echo that as well. Yeah, you don't learn if you don't fail, right?
Absolutely. And there's 3 keys, I think, to success. And I preach these a lot of times to people because I see, people in business always making, these or having these problems. And the first one is the attitude. You always got to have a positive attitude. Nobody likes to complain.
No.
The quickest way to get on my bad side in business is start complaining about something.
Well, That's a good point, Jamie, because you really, to me, that's why I like working with you, is because you're a black and white kind of person, okay? You've got two options. Either deal with it or shut up and don't complain, right?
Absolutely. And that was taught to me at a very young age. My father, anytime I took a problem to him and I started complaining, he would give me the same response. He was, complaints, don't want to hear it. And I hear that in my head every single time I start to complain about something, is my father telling me, shut up, you're complaining, find a way to deal with it. And so many times my attitude has set me apart from the rest, and I'm constantly told by my constituents and people that I work with, that I have a good attitude, that I roll with the punches, nothing really affects me, or I don't really, get too bent out of shape about things. And the power of having a positive attitude, of not complaining, so many doors will open up for you if you just do not complain, no matter how raw the deal is. If it gives you an opportunity to learn something new, that is very, very, very important. Secondly, perseverance. One of my favorite quotes that hung on my wall growing up was that the race is not always to the swift, but to those who keep on going. And that's been a very, very powerful, quote, that sticks in my head every single day, And I may not be the best at, what I'm doing right now, but I'm going to learn, and I'm going to keep on doing what I'm doing. And the number one key to success that will set you apart from anybody else is differentiation. If you want something that somebody else, has, you got to show how you're different from them. This, in my opinion, is the one word that is the primary key to success. Everything else that, sets people apart in business, differentiation is what it is. It's how they are different from those who, they are competing with. It is what it is that you can do or have done that I do not know, cannot do, or have not done, that gives you power over me in the business world.
Yeah, that's right. What's distinct about you compared to everybody else, right?
Absolutely, and it goes back to attitude. Anytime that you're given a chance to learn something new or have a new experience, even if it's, a raw deal or something, jump upon it, because that's going to differentiate you from your competition in the future. And that right there, I've just laid out to you how I've got from, working, a $40,000 to $50,000 a year job to over, $500,000 a year job, and hopefully to growing it even more. And, the sky's the limit. You just cannot be afraid of failure, and you'd be surprised at what you can accomplish. So, part of my show is I want to inspire other people to get out into the business world or whatever it is that makes them happy. And also keep in mind, it's not about money that, defines, success. Just to find your happiness. You don't have to make lots of money, to be happy, So, but I find people all the time that are just not happy with what it is that they do. And so part of my show is to inspire others. And if you have a success story that you'd like to share with me, please reach out to me, and I'm happy to share it on the air as well. You can get me through my website at tampabayradio.com. I'd love to hear the story. So if you're just tuning in, you've been listening to the Jamie Maloney Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Coming back from the break, we're going to be talking more with Robert Paredes and Roger Bennett of RAB Foundation Repair.
Hi, Jamie Maloney here, your host of the Jamie Maloney Real Estate Show. Are you a first-time buyer that is frustrated with trying to find a home in the Tampa Bay region? Have you been looking for months only to be constantly told that home is no longer available or another offer was accepted? If so, I understand your frustration. Buying a home is an emotional and challenging phase of our lives, and today it's made even more difficult due to the low inventory we have in our region. In this challenging market, you have to reach out to industry-leading professionals to help you get the job done. Please take a moment to visit my website at tampabayradio.com or send me a text to 813-760-8516. Again, 813-760-8516, so I can put you in touch with one of my buyer agents that can help you navigate this challenging marketplace. Folks, right now, we are at about a 7-year low for inventory in our region. The market has shifted, and we are in a seller's market again. And on top of that, there are large real estate investment groups eating up a lot of the inventory as soon as it hits the market. How do you as a buyer compete in this market? There's a lot to know and understand. And again, you need to have an agent on your side that can guide you through this market. My team of buyer agent professionals are educated on what is going on in the marketplace. They understand the importance of getting you not just pre-qualified for a mortgage, but fully approved for a mortgage. They understand how to sell HUD government-owned properties as well as Fannie Mae-owned properties, which make up a lot of the inventory in the region and areas many realtors do not understand or fail to advise their buyers properly on. Again, you've got to reach out to me and my team. We have the knowledge and experience to help you find a home and make it a smooth and enjoyable process. Please reach out to me at tampabayradio.com or my phone, 813-760-8516. Again, 760-8516. Also, if you or someone you know is interested in real estate as an investment, you've got to reach out to me and let us know. I work with 45 different banks and asset management companies selling foreclosed properties, and am well connected to many of the area real estate wholesalers that are also a source of real estate opportunities. I've sold nearly 1,000 homes in the region in the past 7 years and am your source of real estate information in the Tampa Bay marketplace. Again, please visit my website at tampabayradio.com, and you can also get me at my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/The Jamie Maloney Real Estate Show, and via phone 813-760-8516. Thanks for tuning in.
Since opening its doors 120 years ago, Stewart Title Company has established a lasting legacy of providing professional title services. Even other title insurance companies know Stewart Title Company because they do their actual underwriting for them. Stewart is here to provide a wide range of resources to help improve any real estate transaction. To learn more about protecting yourself against hidden title hazards that may threaten your financial investment, call Melissa Stoddard at 813-431-8025. That's 813-431-8025.
Thinking about buying a home? Find out how the HUD Home Store can help you. Visit HUDHomestore.com. Look at HUD homes available for sale near you or nationwide. Why HUD Home Store? HUD will pay up to 3% of the buyer's closing cost. The price of the home is based on an FHA as-is appraisal, which is already completed, saving you an average of $400. And there is an owner-occupant priority bidding period during the first 30 days. Want to know more? Visit HUDHomestore.com.
You're listening to the Jamie Maloney Real Estate Show with local expert Jamie Maloney. Now, here's Jamie.
Hi again, everybody, and thanks for staying tuned in to the Jamie Maloney Real Estate Show. You've been listening to 1250 Wins, WHNZ, and you'll find this show on every Monday at noon. I want to change gears now and talk with Robert Paredes. He's a loan officer, regular contributor to the show with Fifth Third Bank. And I've been hearing a lot in the news and amongst other people in the business, the return of subprime lending. What are you seeing out there in the business right now?
Oh, wow. Subprime lending. Fun. Well, as everybody knows, the big reason why we got into that huge mess 2007, 2008 because of the subprime. But you're actually seeing lenders, and one in particular, a national lender as well. I'm sure I can mention their name because it has been published.
Yeah,
it's
fine.
Wells Fargo. They've actually lowered their credit scores to 600 credit scores for an FHA loan. One thing that you got to remember about subprime loans, if it's done correctly, in other words, you can actually prove your income, you actually put some money down, and it makes sense because I think 2 or 3 weeks ago when we did talk about qualified mortgage rules.
Yes.
And ability to repay, many of the lenders are tightening up on their guidelines when it comes to Fannie, Freddie, and so on. And obviously there's a need for that.
Now, you said something there. You said that Wells Fargo had lowered their minimum credit score down to 600 for FHA loans. So FHA doesn't have a standard credit score. That's based upon the lender. They can still do what they like.
That's right. FHA has their own standards, 580 credit score, but it's up to the lender individually to see, set their own standards on top of those guidelines as well. So
Okay. So why would a lender, because FHA basically insures the property, why would they just not go down to 580 because they got insurance on it? Why would they set a different credit score?
Well, there is data out there, that if you have a 580 credit score, you're more apt not to pay your payments. I mean, we're all in the business of actually doing loans and selling homes, but as well as I do, if you don't qualify, you don't deserve a house. And the data is just backing it up to where a 580 credit score, it's not conducive for the lenders to lend on that, because I don't know if you know or not, but many, FHA and also Fannie Freddie, if the loan's not properly performing, the banks have to eat that back.
Oh, I didn't know. So they're if they don't underwrite it properly, then they're going to get stuck with the property.
Right, and not only that, if you've got a 90-day default on it as well, that's what's going to happen is they're going to push it back to the lender to say, hey, you didn't do such a good job on underwriting this loan. Now you have to buy it back from us.
No, but they're not calling the subprime mortgages anymore. What are they calling these now?
For those of you who've been in the business for a while, or maybe back in 2006 and 2007, you've heard Alt-A type of products. Mm-hmm. Those are things that really don't fit right at the box for Fannie and Freddie Mae conforming loans, but it's just a little bit off. So that's what I'm seeing. I'm also hearing private equity money coming back probably within a year as well, because there is a business for that.
Interesting stuff. And also, jumbo loans, those are back as well that I'm hearing. Too.
Yes, they are. And at least I can tell you for Tampa Bay and Florida, since, as well as value has come back like gangbusters in the last year and a half to 2 years. So a lot of folks are actually looking to sell their homes now because they've recouped, not all, but most of it, to where, hey, you know what, I think it's time to pull the trigger. Rates are going up a little bit. Value's going up. We do need to add, buy a bigger home because maybe a family has grown. But the jumbo market has been very hot for the last 6 months to a year. I can tell you for my business as well, it's been doing well.
And what went on in 2008 to 2010? Was there not much? What was the loan limits that you could get in the jumbo market versus what you can get now?
It's not so much the loan limits per se; it's the loan to value. In other words, that made it constrictive. There were times when you wanted a jumbo loan, you had to put 30% down, and not very many folks had that kind of money. But now you've actually gone to where you can put 20% down as opposed to 30 or 40%. Things also, a lot of construction to perm loans, Jamie, with jumbo pricing as well. That's really hot right now in the Tampa Bay market. Seen a lot of tear downs as well in South Tampa, and a lot of jumbo loans, $1.5 million, $2 million happening.
And you can do loans up to $10 million, you said?
That's right. We just came out on our Florida private banking product to where we can go up to $10 million. It's a little bit more asset driven than anything. In other words, if you plan to, or if you can transfer some assets to Fifth Third of $1 million or more, depending on what that loan amount is, we can actually loan against it.
Interesting. Now, also, I want to go back to subprime real quick.
Yeah.
Are we seeing the return of no-doc loans, or is that definitely a thing of the past?
No,
stated income stuff?
Well, those are two separate things. The no-doc stuff, it should never come back, because if you can't prove anything, even your assets, and you're just going off your credit scores, that's not going to fly with anybody, at least any lender who wants to do that.
So we're not seeing a return in that.
I haven't heard it, and I wish it will not, and I hope it never does. Mm-hmm. But let's talk about stated a little bit, okay? Because that's an interesting type of loan program. 7-8 years ago, before 2007 and 2008 issues, stated program made a lot of sense to self-employed borrowers that obviously do a good job on making sure that, with their taxes, the idea is obviously is to try to pay as less tax as possible within the law, right? And so, they waive off a lot of different things, but they've got good credit. They're putting 20-30% down.
Interesting. Okay, so you're just tuning in. You've been listening to the Jamie Maloney Real Estate Show here on 1250 WINS WHNZ. On the mic there just a moment ago, that's Robert Paredes, regular contributor to the Jamie Maloney Real Estate Show, and he's a loan officer with Fifth Third Bank. Robert, if you want to go ahead and give out the contact information to get in touch with you.
Sure. The best way to get a hold of me is through my cell phone. That phone number is 813-300-7218. Again, it's 813-300-7218.
And if you didn't catch that, you can reach out to me through my contact form at tampabayradio.com, and I can put you in touch with him, as they do offer loan products up to $10 million, as well as a doctor loan program. So we'll talk more with him about that coming back from the break. Please stay tuned. In the second half of the show, we're going to be talking with Roger Bennett about sinkhole remediation in Florida. Please stay tuned.
The Lang Eye Care Centers have been providing great eye care all over Central Florida for more than 20 years. And now they have 2 locations in the Bay Area to serve you, including US 19 in Sunset Point in Clearwater and Bruce B. Downs in Tampa. At Lang Eye Care, they offer the latest in optical, nutritional, medical, and surgical eye care, all performed by board-certified optometric physicians and ophthalmologists. And they accept most medical and vision plans. Why sacrifice your eyes for a sale? At Lang Eye Care, you'll find the largest selection of quality name brand eyewear and contact lenses at competitive prices. Learn more. Visit langeyecare.com.
It's time for the Morgan & Morgan Legal Brief.
A firm's mission statement defines your hopes, dreams, and aspirations. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. We take very seriously our obligations to our clients, many who come to us in their most desperate hour. Our mission is you. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
Caring for an elderly parent or a loved one with special needs can be challenging, stressful, and frustrating. If you need help finding the best professionals in the field of home care, legal advice, integrated practitioners, respite care, or a great support group, call the Caregiver Helpline at 1-877-552-4950. That's 1-877-552-4950. It's a free service provided by the Caregiver Resource Network. Call 1-877-552-4950 or go to thecaregiverhour.com.
Introducing An American Story with Tom Brokaw. Award-winning journalist and author Tom Brokaw covers newsworthy current events, historic figures, and notable moments in history that impact the lives of Americans today.
You probably have seen that Coca-Cola commercial celebrating America's diversity. Some were offended, saying that Coke was trying to force multiculturalism on the nation. I've had a civil exchange with a Tea Party friend, sharing with him my recent experience at a large New York hospital. Almost everyone I dealt with came from elsewhere, proud of their heritage, but thrilled to become Americans. That's not unusual. During the great immigration of the 19th and early 20th century, they came from Northern Europe, from Scandinavia. They brought their language and culture, but most of all, they made a rich contribution to their beloved adopted country. Coke did add e pluribus unum to the original ad, out of many, one. And that's the real message. United, not divided, by common dreams and uncommon backgrounds. I'm Tom Brokaw. This is An American Story.
This report brought to you by Hammermill Paper. When you want to look your best on paper, step up to the professional quality of Hammermill Color Copy Digital Paper. You'll get sharper images, brilliant colors, and professional-looking results. Hammermill Color Copy Digital is the difference between blending in and standing out.
From the Bright House Network's traffic center, a little bit of slow traffic along southbound 275 from I-4 into Ashley. No problems across the Bay Bridges. The Veterans and the Selman Expressways both in good shape. Slowdowns in Pinellas County with a wreck along US 19 at Tampa Road and a crash in the clearing stages, still slowing things down northbound along East Lake Road at Landsberg Parkway. See traffic problems? Call the injury firm of Abrahamson and Uterwick Hillsborough Traffic Tip Line at 866-545-9595.
1250 winds, Weather Center forecasts. The highs in the mid-70s today. Right now, 75 in Brandon. Clearwater, 76. A couple 77, Zephyr Hills and Bradenton, Tampa at 74 degrees. We'll see clouds on and off throughout the day. A 30% chance of some scattered showers. Has some skirt through Pasco as well as northern Polk County, maybe a little bit into northeastern Hillsborough. Lows tonight into the mid-60s. Wall Street today, markets are green across the board. Dow 0.84, NASDAQ positive 45, S&P index gaining 21, down to 16,286.
You're listening to the Jamie Maloney Real Estate Show with local expert Jamie Maloney. Now, here's Jamie.
Hi again, everybody, and thanks for staying tuned to the Jamie Maloney Real Estate Show here on 1250 Winds, WHNZ. You'll find my show on every Mondays at noon, and I invite you to please make this a favorite show of yours, as this show aims to become your information source for the Tampa Bay real estate market. Off air, you can find me at my websites, tampabayradio.com. That's my show page, and it's soon to be merged with my listings site, which is tampabayreo.com. And you can get me off air via the phone, which is my cell number 813-760-8516. And if you text the word value to that number, I offer all my listeners a free home valuation. Again, text the word value to 813-760-8516. So in the second half of the show, I want to talk with Roger Bennett. He's in studio. He's the founder of RAB Foundation Repair, a sinkhole repair company. Roger, how you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you, Jamie.
Thanks for coming in. Roger got to know him and his company because they were doing a sinkhole remediation on one of my properties, and they were doing an excellent job on that. And I thought he would make an excellent guest to come on the show. So, Roger, tell me a little bit about your company, your areas of specialty, and the story behind your company.
I've been in the industry since 2002. In 2007, decided to go out on my own and start a company. We started it in July of that year. We ended up doing, I think, about $800,000 in sales the first year. 2 years ago, we hit $12 million in sales. So we were a pretty fast rising company. And then the industry just took a turn where everybody's kind of down, hoping it's come back pretty soon.
Yeah, this is something I wasn't aware of. You were talking about this with me prior to going on the air, but you mentioned Senate Bill 408. Explain to me what that is.
It's a bill. Jamie, did the sinkhole companies and the problems need reform? Absolutely, in Tallahassee. Something needed to be done. Public adjusters were running wild, just making everybody, legitimate or not, file claims with the insurance companies. So they kind of got sick of all the frivolous acts, and they reformed the industry. They went too far, in my opinion. What the state bill, Senate bill says now, it determines how a claim is actually nullified or verified, and it's up to the engineers who are the only ones able to do that is a geotechnical engineer. Just for a quick reference, I mean, everyone knows what happened out in Seffner and the unfortunate incident where the sinkholes, basically swallowed a human being. Well, that property was tested and came up negative for sinkhole. Now, the engineer didn't do anything wrong. They were bound by the new statutes. So that just goes to show you the damage that was done in Tallahassee to the consumers.
So what are some of the telltale signs of when you have a problem, and when should you call an expert out to your home?
You can look, tile popping is one of them. If you have tile floors, tile popping. I'm starting on the inside. Some of your doors or windows you're having trouble closing. All of a sudden they're getting stuck. You notice a little separation in the ceiling line in your sheetrock or in the bottom where your floorboards are. And then on the outside of the home, the real telltale signs are what we call stair-step cracking. You can, on a block home, you can actually see cracks that follow where the blocks are. That's a sign. It's not a sign where panic, my house is going to fall in. It's a sign we tell people just to keep watching, and if it does become more prevalent and the gaps starting to open, that's a time to call your insurance company and they will send an adjuster out. But if someone, you call a company like myself or other companies for an inspection, don't let people scare you into saying, oh, you got a claim, make a claim, you have a sinkhole. Like I said, the only one who can tell you positive or negative is a geotechnical engineer.
Now, your company is do you have geotechnical engineers on staff? How's that work?
No, we don't. We're just a repair company. We're a licensed contractor by the state of Florida. And typically, I don't know any repair companies in this area who have their own geotechnical engineer. It's kind of a conflict of interest. So the insurance companies have groups of these guys and these companies that they go to for the testing.
Okay, so if you suspect an issue, my first call as a consumer is going to be to your company, correct?
It might be. We do field calls all day long on that, and we send inspectors out and people to deal with that. And an honest company will tell you just to watch it. If they go out there and they do see that, hey, there is an immediate problem, then they will tell you to call your insurance company, and that insurance company will send out their adjuster to see. At that point, if he sees something, yes, there is a problem, then it's the insurance company's responsibility to call the engineer to do the testing.
Roger, I got a question for you. I live in Pasco County, actually in Land O'Lakes, and on one side of the building, I can see that there's, when it rains, there's a lot of water that gathers there, and it doesn't get a lot of sun, so it doesn't dry as fast as I want to. Is that something to be concerned of? Maybe start thinking about getting some drainage out there, or what do you think about that?
A preventable measure, and first off, Land O'Lakes, the water table is pretty high underneath the soil, so that's not really a great concern. But anytime you can divert water away from the foundation just by simple drainage, some downspouts that don't just come down, just divert it as far away as possible as you can. And usually there's things at Home Depot that'll help you do that for like a $10 piece of plastic.
Okay, good to know. Good to know.
That's something I just did recently. I purchased a new home a couple of years ago, and my the back of my property where my deck was, the water came down and it basically formed a little lake underneath my deck because there was no gutters, and that's a very poor thing to let stand for a long time, correct?
Yeah, you don't want to have any water in there because eventually it'll seep into the soils. That's what causes a sinkhole. Down below, Florida's a limestone area, especially this area here, where eventually over periods of time, the water gets down into that limestone, erodes it, and other factors can erode it. And that's when the soils above that stone seek down. It's like it's a raveling effect, just keeps going down and down. How severe it is depends on how open that hole is and that anomaly down below the surface in that limestone.
Yeah, it bothered me, and I since had gutters put onto the home to get that water away from.
Great thing to do. I'm from up north. Every house in up north has gutters. I bought a home without gutters, and I didn't even realize till I went outside and said, where the heck's the gutters? So I had to go through the expense of adding gutter to my house, and it's well worth it.
Now, tell me, how do you remediate a sinkhole home? What is the process to fix them? What happens?
There's 3 basic ways, and the engineers are the only ones to determine that also. On the number one way and the only way that you can repair a sinkhole is through compaction grouting. For all intents and purposes, it's a non-aggregate cement. It's called flowable fill that will go in. They pump it into the ground at certain levels under certain pressures. And the theory is that the soils, so much is being added that the soils will compact underneath the structure and be sound enough to support the structural weight. The second way to fix it is more towards a structural end. Now, the structural end does not fix the sinkhole. That's where we got. Only grout can fix the sinkhole. Only underpins can stabilize the foundation.
And underpins basically is like putting the home on stilts.
Exactly. If you took out if you put the underpins in and then wiped away all the dirt underneath there, your house will actually look like it's on stilts.
Because it's basically you're pinning it to the bedrock.
Put it into the bedrock. That's an important feature that they, whoever does the remediation process, they need to get down to bedrock. Some people stop and think it's sufficient enough. No, those piers need to be sitting on top of the bedrock. And then the other factor, the other technique used is called chemical grout, where it's done in the first 12 feet underneath the foundation. In layman's terms, if you ever went to Home Depot and got the plumber's stuff that you spray and it expands and gets real hard, that's what they're putting underneath the first 12 feet of your home.
Roger, during the break, you did ask me what are lenders looking for. Will they lend on those types of homes? And yes, lenders will lend on them as long as they get an all-clear report from the engineers.
That's a great point. If you're in the market looking for a house and you suspect anything or there's things in the area that you know of, you go online on any county and those engineers' reports are filed with the county, and it will tell you how the home was fixed and if it was fixed to original recommendations, and that's public knowledge.
Now, if you suspect, let's say you want to add insurance, sinkhole coverage to your policy, the first step is to get a sinkhole report done on your property. You can't just call the insurance company and add a sinkhole coverage to your policy, correct?
That's correct. But to get a sinkhole report, remember, like I said, the only ones who can do that is an engineer. To find out, you're probably looking at about a $4,500 to $6,000 tab to get your house tested to see if there isn't an issue.
But there are just the general handyman will come out there for like $150.
There's a point. But myself or a handyman cannot tell you. He can see signs of it, but he can't tell you for sure.
But is that what the insurance company wants the homeowners to do when they say get a sinkhole report and provide us? are they just looking for that $150 report, or are they looking for that $4,000?
No, they're looking for the $150 report, but basically it's meaningless in our industry.
And what do they do? Just got to see some cracks, and do you see that most of them don't cite it, or do you see a lot of them just say, yeah, there is? I mean, what do you see?
They can see cracks and say yes, it is. They can see cracks and say yes, it's not.
And that's
because it's guesswork.
That's really what concerns me as a consumer, because if a person goes out there and says there is a sinkhole, well, now I, as a owner of the property, am at a duty to disclose that I have a sinkhole, and how am I going to get an insurance, added to my policy for the sinkhole? And basically, you're stuck at that point. Am I correct?
At that point, if you don't have it, you're probably not going to get it at that point.
Yeah, and so I guess your only remedy at that point is, I guess, call an engineer, a real professional, and pay a $4,000 bill to really see if you have it. But, I mean, if you have this $150 report that says, oh, yeah, you got a sinkhole, well, then you're at a duty to disclose.
At that point, yes, you are. But even if, here's the kicker, if that point says no, that you don't have a sinkhole, you're still have a liability issue if it comes back and determines down the line.
But at least at that point, you have enough to get the insurance added.
Correct. Well, it depends on the insurance company also. They may send their own rep out there that wants to do the inspection.
And I think it's important to add, all policies in the state of Florida have this catastrophic ground collapse coverage. That's different than sinkhole, like the incident in Seffner. That's catastrophic ground collapse
coverage. Great point. And part of the law that changed, everybody used to have that. What they did is they carved it out. With the new law, they carved it out and made it a rider. There's a couple of politicians, I don't want to raise their name right here, but they had it carved out. So it's
so not all policies have this catastrophic ground?
No, all policies do.
All policies,
but
okay,
regular sinkhole, it used to come where you had sinkhole coverage.
Right.
Now you have just catastrophic
coverage, meaning like,
and now you're paying a rider for your regular coverage.
Interesting. So, okay, if you're just tuning in, you've been listening to the Jamie Maloney Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins WHNZ. We've been talking with Roger Bennett about sinkhole remediation. He's the founder of RAB Foundation Repair. And stay tuned after the break. We'll be finishing up with him and some other great need-to-know information about the sinkhole process.
Hi, Jamie Maloney here, your host of the Jamie Maloney Real Estate Show. I want to thank each and every one of you for listening to my show on 1250 Wins WHNZ. The Tampa Bay real estate market is very undersupplied, and we need inventory. There is strong demand from both first-time buyers as well as large investment groups, and many properties are seeing multiple offers due to the lack of inventory in our area to satisfy this demand. As a matter of fact, the Tampa Bay region is at a 7-year low in available inventory, and demand is at its strongest since the market's peak in 2006. This demand has pushed up values in our area as high as 20% in some areas year over year, and you may be surprised what your home is currently worth. I am offering all my listeners a free home valuation if you text the word VALUE to my cell phone at 813-760-8516. Again, text the word VALUE to 813-760-8516, and I will send you a complimentary and detailed home valuation within 3 business days of speaking to you. Please reach out to me. I've sold nearly 1,000 homes in the Tampa Bay region and have been in business for almost 7 years now. I have the market knowledge and experience to help you sell your home, whether big or small, for top price. Don't put one of your biggest investments into the wrong hands. There are many inexperienced agents in the market, and the wrong decision can cost you thousands in a poorly marketed and poorly negotiated deal. Trust your sale to one of the area's top listing agents and contact me today. In addition to having one of the top listing agents in the area representing your home, you can rest assured that you have the area's #1 real estate brand, Coldwell Banker, in your corner as well. Coldwell Banker is an internationally recognized real estate brand and properly markets your home across 500 websites, and we also utilize print advertising as well as all the social networking tools and sites to get your home exposed to a broad audience. Please reach out to me today for a free home valuation. Just text the word VALUE to 813-760-8516. Again, 813-760-8516, or stop by my website at www.tampabayradio.com and fill out my contact form, and I will get in touch with you as soon as possible. You can also find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Jamie Maloney Real Estate Show. Just click on like to receive show updates, as well as a feed of all my listings and current real estate news articles. You can also post questions on the page that I and the audience can discuss. Thanks for tuning in, and be back in a moment.
Since opening its doors 120 years ago, Stewart Title Company has established a lasting legacy of providing professional title services. Even other title insurance companies know Stewart Title Company because they do their actual underwriting for them. Stewart is here to provide a wide range of resources to help improve any real estate transaction. To learn more about protecting yourself against hidden title hazards that may threaten your financial investment, call Melissa Stoddard at 813-431-8025. That's 813-431-8025.
Thinking about buying a home? Find out how the HUD Home Store can help you. Visit HUDHomestore.com. Look at HUD homes available for sale near you or nationwide. Why HUD Home Store? HUD will pay up to 3% of the buyer's closing cost. The price of the home is based on an FHA as-is appraisal, which is already completed, saving you an average of $400. And there is an owner-occupant priority bidding period during the first 30 days. Want to know more? Visit HUDHomestore.com.
You're listening to the Jamie Maloney Real Estate Show with local expert Jamie Maloney. Now, here's Jamie.
Hi again, everybody, and thanks for staying tuned in to the Jamie Maloney Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins WHNZ. If you're just tuning in, we've been talking with Roger Bennett of RAB Foundation Repair. And I want to bring up, if you watch my streamcast, I'm going to bring up a property, 1829 Sumac Court. And you can watch my streamcast at TampaBayMultimedia.com. Just search the TBMM shows, and you'll find the Jamie Maloney Real Estate Show on there. But this is how I got to know this company. I have a foreclosed property up in the Thousand Oaks community. Again, 1829 Sumac Court. A buyer did an inspection on the property and found that it had settlement activity, and so the insurance company, through the seller, the bank, decided to do the remediation on this, and so the property is off the market right now. It's finishing up the remediation process, but it was last listed at $219,900. It's a very nice home. It's a pool home. And it's a 4-bed, 3-bath house, 2,474 square feet. And again, it's in the Thousand Oaks community. And if you're watching my streamcast, you can see pictures of it on my show there. Again, TampaBayMultimedia.com, the Jamie Maloney Real Estate Show. Just search through the TBMM shows. So, Roger, wanted to ask you about, if I'm interested in purchasing a property that has a prior sinkhole repaired or unrepaired, what should I be looking for?
What you want to look for, and it's a matter of public records, the original recommendation, the engineers who first went out there and tested it, he has to file a report of his findings and file a report of his recommendations of repair. You want to make sure that the home you're buying followed those original recommendations. Not that some investor bought it, had another engineer come in, put a different fix on it, and then is going to sell you that home as a repaired sinkhole. That's a red flag in this area.
Okay, so you're saying when an engineer goes out to the properties, these documents become public record?
Matter of public record filed at any county office.
Okay, so I was not aware of that, so that's actually news to me. But I will tell you, I do get a call probably once a month from an investor looking for sinkhole homes and explain what it is that they're going to do in a lot of situations. Not necessarily everyone, but what you're seeing common scams in this business.
Commonly, these guys will go out and buy a home for 25 cents of the home's value. This is an unrepaired sinkhole. They'll invest some money putting what they call a fix on it, which if it's not following the original recommendations, it's a modified fix. It's legal in the counties. The counties haven't caught up to it yet, although they are. So at that point, they'll get it, sell you a house with documentation that yes, this house is stabilized, it's repaired, but not to original report. They had it modified and documented that it was, and then they'll try and you're going to buy a home that wasn't repaired to original.
Yeah. That's a really good point, because I always thought as long as the engineer's report says all clear, and I really don't pay attention to it too much because that's for our processing and operation department to handle that. So are you saying there are two different types of reports, and most lenders will just approve the modified?
Exactly. Well, I don't know about with the lenders. I can't speak on their behalf. But it's common that with these investors, they have engineers that they work with that will modify the fix. Instead of putting grout in, they'll put underpin system in. You know, is it totally wrong? I can't tell you. I'm not an engineer.
But it's not what is recommended.
It's not what the insurance company was initially willing to pay for, and what the county said needed to be done.
Now,
that's all I can say. Whether it's a proper fix, I don't know.
Now, when I come along and I buy this repaired sinkhole home that wasn't repaired properly, do the insurance companies find the original recommendations in public records, or they don't?
They should. I mean, it's their property also. They're the first ones to see those reports before they're filed. The engineer files with the county and the insurance company, because the insurance company are the ones who hired the engineers to do these reports.
And after the property is repaired legitimately, these homes are basically fully insurable. Again, they're just as good as new.
They are. They'll have to go through inspection, and lenders do insure them. Honestly, Jamie and Robert, in this area where we live, it's Sinkhole Alley. There's some sections up in the Spring Hill area, Land O'Lakes, Trinity. There's a few. There's a Tampa around Raymond James Stadium is a big area. I'm almost inclined to, if I was coming down here and I knew a little bit about it, I'm buying a repaired sinkhole home before I buy one, because it's almost if it's a matter of when it's going to happen, not if it's going to happen.
You know, that's interesting that you say that, because as a real estate agent, people, first off, it's unrepaired. Yeah, you're looking at about 25% of the true market value. Even if it's repaired, it's still a tough sale. You know, I mean, is there a chance that, you know, the sinkhole can come back or something?
There is. There's no one there, and you get the greatest geotechnical engineers in the world. They cannot guarantee 100%, because when it comes down to it, it is an act of God.
And you said, Robert, you know, that the banks lend on these all day long, you know, after the repair and everything, correct?
Yeah. Again, the key to it is you got to have an all clear engineer's report as well. Now that brings in a pretty, you know, to your point about has it been fixed to the specifications. I'm definitely going to ask that question on our side as well, because that's an interesting point.
It needs to be, because that's what's prevalent out here, and there's people making a lot of money. These investors are making a lot of money on that type of transactions.
Interesting. Well, Roger, I've enjoyed having you on my show. For the audience, please get out your website and contact information for them, please.
Once again, my name is Roger Bennett. Our phone number at rabfoundationrepair.com. We just spell it out, and it's 813-926-2300. If you suspect any kind of sinkhole activity or have any nervousness, we will send someone out there. Call the office. We'll send someone out there and give you a legitimate concerns, whether you just watch it or, hey, this is from our experience. This is something that you may have to look and investigate further.
All right, very good. And so if you didn't get that information, you can always reach out to me through my website, tampabayradio.com, and I will put you in touch with him. So I want to go back real quick to his original point about buying a repaired sinkhole home. This off-market property that I was just promoting here at the beginning of the segment, 1829 Sumac Court, this is a nice subdivision-style home, the type of home that is in demand. So if you're a real estate professional out there, you want to get in touch with me about getting this home before it goes back on the market. This is a great property. Again, 4 beds, 3 baths, 2,400 square feet, and it was last listed at $219,900 in the Thousand Oaks community, and a very nice pool home. Great opportunity for a first-time buyer. If you're just tuning in, you've been listening to the Jamie Maloney Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins WHNZ. In studio today, I had my co-host and regular contributor, Robert Paredes with Fifth Third Bank, and my guest today, Roger Bennett, founder of RAB Foundation Repair. Thank you all very much for coming into studio today.
Thank you, Jamie. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you all very much. And you'll find this show on every Monday at noon. And in the meantime, you can get me off the air at tampabayradio.com or tampabayreo.com. And please tune in next Monday at noon.
The opinions, viewpoints, and promises